Find more questions and study at your own pace on our website. The link will be in the description. Let's get started. Question 1. A company runs container applications by using Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service and the Kubernetes Horizontal Pod Autoscaler. The workload is not consistent throughout the day. A solutions architect notices that the number of nodes does not automatically scale out when the existing nodes have reached maximum capacity in the cluster, which causes performance issues. Which solution will resolve this issue with the least administrative overhead? Option A. Scale out the nodes by tracking the memory usage. Option B. Use the Kubernetes Cluster Autoscaler to manage the number of nodes in the cluster. Option C. Use an AWS Lambda function to resize the EKS cluster automatically. Option D. Use an Amazon EC2 autoscaling group to distribute the workload. The answer is option B. The Kubernetes Cluster Autoscaler is designed to automatically adjust the number of nodes in a Kubernetes cluster based on the resource requirements of the pods. It scales the cluster up or down by adding or removing nodes as needed, which directly addresses the issue of the nodes not scaling out when they reach maximum capacity. This solution minimizes administrative overhead as it automates the scaling process without manual intervention or custom scripts. Question 2. A company wants to implement a backup strategy for Amazon EC2 data and multiple Amazon S3 buckets. Because of regulatory requirements, the company must retain backup files for a specific time period. The company must not alter the files for the duration of the retention period. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Use AWS Backup to create a backup vault that has a vault lock and governance mode. Create the required backup plan. Option B. Use Amazon Data Lifecycle Manager to create the required automated snapshot policy. Option C. Use Amazon S3 File Gateway to create the backup. Configure the appropriate S3 lifecycle management. Option D. Use AWS Backup to create a backup vault that has a vault lock and compliance mode. Create the required backup plan. The answer is option D. To ensure that backup files cannot be altered for a specific retention period as required by regulatory requirements, the use of AWS Backup with a backup vault lock in compliance mode is appropriate. Compliance mode ensures that no one, not even administrators, can delete or modify the backup files until the retention period expires. This solution also allows for the creation of a backup plan that meets the company's needs. Question 3. A solutions architect wants all new users to have specific complexity requirements and mandatory rotation periods for IAM user passwords. What should the solutions architect do to accomplish this? Option A. Set an overall password policy for the entire AWS account. Option B. Set a password policy for each IAM user in the AWS account. Option C. Use third-party vendor software to set password requirements. Option D. Attach an Amazon CloudWatch rule to the Create New User event to set the password with the appropriate requirements. The answer is option A. To enforce specific complexity requirements and mandatory rotation periods for IAM user passwords, the solutions architect should set an overall password policy for the entire AWS account. This account-wide policy ensures that any new IAM users created will automatically inherit these password requirements, making it a systematic and comprehensive solution for managing password security across the account. Question 4. A company plans to run a high-performance computing workload on Amazon EC2 instances. The workload requires low-latency network performance and high network throughput with tightly coupled node-to-node communication. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Configure the EC2 instances to be part of a cluster placement group. Option B. Launch the EC2 instances with dedicated instance tenancy. Option C. Launch the EC2 instances as spot instances. Option D. Configure an on-demand capacity reservation when the EC2 instances are launched. The answer is option A. For a high-performance computing workload that requires low-latency network performance and high network throughput with tightly coupled node-to-node communication, the most suitable solution is to configure the EC2 instances to be part of a cluster placement group. This configuration ensures that instances are placed physically close to each other within the same availability zone, resulting in significantly reduced latency and improved network performance. Question 5. A media company hosts its website on AWS. The website application's architecture includes a fleet of Amazon EC2 instances behind an application load balancer and a database that is hosted on Amazon Aurora. The company's cybersecurity team reports that the application is vulnerable to SQL injection. How should the company resolve this issue? Option A. Use AWS WF in front of the ALB. Associate the appropriate web ACLs with AWS WF. Option B. Create an ALB listener rule to reply to SQL injections with a fixed response. Option C. Subscribe to AWS Shield Advanced to block all SQL injection attempts automatically. Option D. Set up Amazon Inspector to block all SQL injection attempts automatically. The answer is option A. To address SQL injection vulnerabilities, the company should use AWS WAF in front of the application load balancer and associate the appropriate web ACLs with AWS WAF. AWS WAF provides a feature to define rules that can identify and block common attack patterns, such as SQL injection attacks, by inspecting incoming traffic. This helps prevent malicious SQL queries from reaching the application, thereby improving security. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to check out our website where you can find more questions for this exam. The link will be in the description. Thank you for watching and good luck on your exams.